Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Scholes. This week, we're visiting Nigeria for 3 new tales from Hausa folklore by Maalam, Shaihua. And this first story, is one of the stories about people. And it's the story of a slave, and a vizier, and a man and his wife. This is the story of the slave, by name the world. In the name of Allah the Compassionate, the Merciful, and may the peace of Allah be upon him after whom there is no prophet. This is the beginning of a story about people. A story, let it go, let it come. A slave of a chief had a wife, and it was said of her that she was of a loose character. He, the husband, said it was a lie, and that his wife did not go after men. At last one day, a certain old woman said to him, "Always when you go to the council, then she, your wife, is after the men." And the old woman said, "Today, mount your horse and say you are going to an outlying village, and you are going to sleep there." Then the chief's slave saddled up, mounted, and took the road, and went off. When evening came he had not come, for he had said, "I am going, and shall not return." Now the wife possessed some lovers, the Galadima and the vizier, and a certain of the chief's slaves, a foreigner, by name the World. And on the master of the house going out, then the wife sent to these her lovers. She said, "My master will go to an outlying village, and he will not return today but tomorrow." Then the Galadima brought 4,000 cowries worth of meat and 2,000 cowries worth of rice to bring to the woman. When night came, the Galadima arrived, the meat and rice was set out, and he ate. Then he heard the sound of the slippers of the vizier, and down he fell under the bed, and the rice was lifted and covered up. Sure enough, it was the vizier. Then he sat down, and he also was given rice and meat, and he ate. Then he heard the noise made by the slippers of him called the World. He thinks it is the master of the house. So he fell under the bed, when he discovered the Galadima sitting there. Then he said, "Ho, it's the Galadima, is it?" And he said, "Yes," and said, "Let us keep this secret." And he said, "There is no harm in that." They were sitting there then, and the one called the World was given his share, and he also was eating. Then they heard the hoofs of the horse of the master of the house. He has come. Then the World threw away the plate of food and fell under the bed. Then the World saw a man there. He said, "Who are you?" Then the Galadima and the vizier said, "It is we." Then the World said, "You, Galadima, what brings you here?" And they said, "For the sake of Allah, World, let us keep this secret among us." And the World said, "All right, keep silent." Then they kept still. The master of the house, meanwhile, was at his house, taking off the saddle. He did not know. Then he told his wife to give him water to wash. She gave him water, and he washed. Then he entered the house and sat on the bed, and his wife said, "Greetings to you on your coming." He did not reply. He was wondering and saying, the world," because he had been lied to and told his wife went after men, and behold, he had come and saw no one. And he kept saying, the world." His wife said, "What is the matter, master?" Now he, by name the World, the foreigner, thought it was to him he was speaking. Truly, he waxed angry and spoke, saying, "You!" Is it him called the world only you have to find fault with? Look, do you not see the Galadima and the Vizier, but only the world, seeing that it is the world you are finding fault with only?" On that, all was confusion in the room, and the Galadima and the Vizier ran out, and left him called the world and the woman's husband fighting. The old woman was shouting and calling for help. The people came and separated them. Next morning, the matter was brought before the chief, when the woman's husband stated the case, but the councillors split themselves with laughing. And the chief said, "Where are the Galadima and the Vizier?" And he was told they had not come. And the chief said, "Let someone go and see if all is well with them." And they went and found that the Galadima and the Vizier were not at their house. Of a truth, they had gone to the bush, and until now they have not been seen for very shame. And the moral of this is that it does not behoove a man of position to act improperly. That is all. Off with the rat's head. And that is the Nigerian folktale of the story of the slave by name the world. This is a familiar story, isn't it? Aside for the adultery, the coming of separate parties into the room, having some food, and then hiding under the bed. And then, once the rightful owner of the food and the home comes home, it's just all hell breaks loose, doesn't it? This is one of those things that I love so much about folklore and reading through the stories from different cultures, is that this story is not that far off from others that we've heard. It's amazing how similar our experiences are, isn't it? This is Dan Scholes for the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at Folktale Project. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you like to listen. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com, where you'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget that you can also help support the podcast by heading over to patreon.com/folktaleproject, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get early access to every story told. As always, thank you so much for listening.